What's a small decision you made that ended up having a big impact on your life? When I saw this question, my mind raced back to a moment 55 years ago when Ellen was giving me a ride to the apartment I was staying in then. She waited until just as we pulled up to the curb at the apartment to tell me she had slept with this professor that had been attracted to her. I had this moment of intense irritation in reaction to this information. We had been essentially living with each other for the last couple of years, and I only had moved to this new apartment because it was within walking distance to the nursing program I had just recently signed up to complete. I reacted in that moment with anger and pain to the information she casually presented. I want to explain why that reaction was the epitome of hypocrisy for me and sent me into a depression for 10 years, an enigma that I did not solve until my 70s. The truth of the matter was, I was a promiscuous jerk who was constantly on the make. I had not hidden that information from Helen, but I also acted as if it was okay for me to behave that way, while Ellen was supposedly supposed to remain faithful in all ways to me. I'm actually not sure why to this day I did not see the irony and hypocrisy of my position. Anyway, Ellen did, and she left me. For the life of me, I could not figure out at the time why. I fell into the miasma of the self and found suffering abundantly available. Wrapped tightly in self pity, I stayed there for a good 10 years. I want to explain why I had these values that trapped me into some seriously chauvinistic beliefs. Perhaps that's really more of an excuse to justify behaviors that should be left on the path I traveled long ago. I do want to explain, however, how slowly stupidity emerges from its anchorings. It was not until I was in my 70s and listened to my daughter Shannon navigate through her own emerging morality that I saw the obvious blunders in the logic of my worldview. Ellen wanted equal footing, and a simple apology would have solved everything. Prior to that moment in the car, I controlled my world with a dazzling ease. In the time after that, I had to relearn things that had come so easy before. I forget the poet who said it, but it applies here. Nothing is so simple that it cannot be misunderstood. So I revisit memories and find the potholes of my life have rutted my path with a consistency that is truly embarrassing. I do, however, see that when you find you've made a mistake, you should admit it. At that point, it's the least you can do. Shannon writes a little excerpt here. She must have read this before. Shannon says, "Thank you for sharing. I don't think I've ever realized how much of an influence I had on you at the time." That was probably about 10 years ago. So that's nice to know.